huge.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. And we, I knew what he does, obviously, or at least at that point, to the extent that I did.
You're from Scranton, right?
Oh yeah.
Did you know of Shawn Klush? Just
heard of
sort of
him.
general public.
I heard of him, yeah, but never.
He's
saw
on a
him.
mural. Did you know that? He's on
I
a
know
mural
that
in
now,
Pittston.
In fact, when I told my mother I was with him, she actually freaked out on the phone. She goes, "You're with Shawn Klush?" I said, "Yeah." She, oh my God! And
He's a celebrity.
Yeah.
Except when we walk around Pittston, he's like, "Hey, Shawn.
Yeah.
Hey, Shawn.
How you doing over there?
Yeah. Man, how's everybody?
Sup?
Yeah.
yeah,
High schoolers. People from high school.
Yeah.
absolutely.
The ones that are still alive.
But yeah, I mean.
So what are you guys working on? You guys, I heard you're maybe doing some original stuff.
Yeah, and that that's something that I was thinking about as you guys were talking about the Ultimate Elvis tribute and all around overseas where Elvis never went and everything, and just watching those videos. I mean, I was on tour with them in January and then a few since then, and I still, I mean, before we got on the road to come here, the day before, I watched the Ultimate Elvis, that tribute, the first one, the contest in England, and I literally was choked up thinking, and my internal dialogue was saying, I am so honored that he's my songwriting partner.
Wow.
There's no one in this world that, and,
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
And just everything. I mean, everything Steve. And if no one's seen Shawn yet, I mean, the charisma he brings out and the energy and the voice. His voice, you almost wonder if he's gonna crack the PA.
For sure.
And
Wait a minute now.
and it's interesting that if I just went and saw him before ever knowing him, my thoughts the whole time would be, all right, this is beyond amazing. Let's see what let's get him on some things and go. And I mean, the things we're working on now, I mean, we talk more than my fiance and more than his wife. We're on the phone 30 times a day about music, left and right.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean,
Well, when ideas come up, a lot of times we'll just bounce them off each other, and then they can further the idea. McCartney, Lennon, John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, this type of stuff.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler
Oh, that's
Perry,
good.
right.
So you found a writing partner, a musical partner, and
Yeah,
I just want people to realize that you're not just an Elvis tribute artist. You're a musician and a singer, and you work on your own stuff, and actually do a pretty good Bon Jovi and a pretty good Garth Brooks. I might add.
Oh yeah.
Two idols right there.
Yeah. What kind of car do you drive? What's your preference? Do you have any kind of car interest?
Yeah, the motor just went on my car, actually, literally.
Wow.
I mean, my top car is a Ferrari, but
Okay.
at the moment, it's not in the garage, if you know what I'm saying.
Can I just tell you how fun they are to drive?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Tell everybody.
I can say, though, I did drive Shawn's Raptor a few weeks ago.
Right.
And for anyone that doesn't understand that, once you drive it, it's just like a Gibson. You play a Gibson,
That's right.
you don't want to give it back.
That's right.
You drive the Raptor, you don't want to get out.
Well, let's get into a little bit about the Elvis cars. That's what people are listening for. They want to hear about and Shawn is like a walking encyclopedia. I've walked past pictures of Elvis, and he goes, "Oh yeah, those shoes he bought at so and so in 1972, and he paid $69.25 for them." And it's not made up because you got a series of books, you got a library of
Yeah,
stuff.
well, and as you know, Steve, being around the guys, DJ Fontana,
Yeah.
who, God bless him, he had a lot of great stories because it was all early, and DJ did so much stuff. I keep leaving him out of the mix, and I don't mean to. DJ Fontana was an incredible individual.
And if not for you, I would have not had breakfast with him in 2010 in Las Vegas. And so I appreciate that. Let's get into the cars.
Sure.
Everybody knows about the pink Cadillac. What is the story with the pink Cadillac? Because I heard he had a Cadillac, he wrecked a Cadillac, and he had it fixed up and painted pink and then gave it to his mother. Do you know the story there?
Yeah, no, it did get wrecked. A wheel caught on fire. A wheel bearing caught on fire, but it was repaired. It was nothing. It didn't go up in smoke or anything. And it's not a 56. It's a 55. It's not a 2-door. It's a 4-door.
Okay.
And he bought it for his mom. I mean,
who did not have a driver's license?
Did not have a driver's license, but he drove her everywhere in that car that he could, and he did have it painted pink for her.
Right.
I believe it was white.
before things really hit for him, they traveled. I don't know what kind of station wagon it was, but they had big cars and big station wagons, and that's how they travel the country.
Yeah, I think it was Bill Black's car, who was the bass player.
Yeah.
And then Scotty's car. You know, whoever had what. You know, and I think Elvis took the Cadillac a few times on the road. But that basically stayed home.
There is a picture of him, probably 56, where he's on stage and the car is right there.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah.
Because they leave the stage and jump right in the car.
Get in, get out,
Sure.
and
Sure.
not be mobbed, hopefully.
Right.
So many great cars, and obviously there's a museum down at Graceland, and they sort of rotate cars. They bring new cars.
That museum, boy, I got to tell you, anybody who's listening, if you haven't, just for the sake of, it's most interesting about his life, and when you see this home, you're walking into his personality. This guy couldn't go out and move around and do anything, so he built his personality and his life around that house.
Mm-hmm.
So behind those walls, you're actually getting a glimpse of him, and just like anything else, you could tell that he touched it because it's nothing but class and you know, and used.
Yeah.
The couch is used.
Right,
He didn't
right.
buy something and put plastic all over
That's
it.
right.
You know, he used it.
Well, that's the situation with some of the cars too.
Well, of
There's
course.
some wear in them because
Oh,
the
God.
funny thing about Elvis was that he got limousines and buses and stuff, but he drove them. He liked to drive them.
Even the bus.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
bought a bus for J.D. Sumner and Stamps, the backup guys. And when it got there, he took them all outside. They all jumped in it, and he jumped in it and took off. And I mean, he beat the tar out of this truck.
Right.
He beat the tar out of that bus.
He really. Why was Cadillac? And we talked a little bit about this earlier. Why was Cadillac and Lincoln? Why were those important brands to Elvis?
As what we said, when you're a child and you're growing up in the 40s, late 30s and the 40s, when you seen one of them coming, it meant class, it meant money, it meant business, it meant, hot dang, you're somebody, you're a movie star. And I think that stayed with him.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a guy who became a man. You're talking about a child who became a man faster than he should have because they didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you scrape, so you grow up quicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and those childish things, toys stayed with him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Sure did. He
just
had
things you couldn't afford as a little kid.
That's
And
right.
now all of a sudden you can, and you could be 25 years old. But boy, I wanted one of these when I was 12.
So he had trikes and motorcycles
God.
and golf carts and every
Golf
kind of,
carts by the dozen.
Yeah,
You kidding me?
trucks, wheels. He had a little of everything, which is why it's so interesting, and why we're never going to get through all of his cars today. There's just there's no chance. But some of our favorites, we've talked about the Stutz Blackhawks that he had later. This is really skipping a bunch of years, but this is the ones that he had later in life.
First one was 1969.
Now tell me about the. There's one that he sort of scooped from Frank Sinatra.
That
as
was
a
it.
legend. Oh, that was the one.
Yeah, Jules Myers, he was out in Los Angeles, and he's still there, I believe. But Stutz went out of business in the 20s or something.
Mm-hmm.
He brought him back in the 70s. And so Jules Myers would take this prototype Stutz, and he would drive it around Bob Hope's house, Frank Sinatra. Frank ordered a car. And Jules Myers brings this 69 Stutz right into Elvis's home. They're 1174 Hillcrest in Beverly Hills.
That's right.
And he shows it to him, and Elvis says, "Yeah, man, I want it." And he said, "Well, this is going to Frank Sinatra, this prototype, and this, that, and the other." And Elvis said, "Yeah, no, you don't understand. I want this car right here. Just leave it here." And he goes, "Well, I can't." He said, "Let me tell you something." He goes, Jules Miles said, "Well, I got to show this around. I take it to car shows. How would I sell it?" He goes, "Let me ask you a question, Jules. If I drive around in this car and you drive around in this car, who do you think's more apt to buy it? Seeing me drive it or seeing you drive it?"
Right. Was there a thing where Frank wouldn't take a picture with him in the car and promote it?
That was the reason why. For some reason, Frank would not do a promotional thing, and I guess in Frank's head, which is okay, you're not going to use me to sell the car. Whereas Elvis said, "I don't care if you use me to sell the car.
Take a picture.
Take a million pictures, man." So
Oh, this is going to move fast. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the cars of Elvis Presley, including the famous story of how he shot a car that would not start. Right after these messages on CarSmarts Radio.